It's the softer side of one of history's harder criminals. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman sobbed in court Thursday after a surprise visit from his 7-year-old twin daughters.
It's interesting to see this other facet of this drug lord, that he has emotions. He still has this emotion for his family. He hasn't lost that.
El Chapo's tears flowed just as his trial wrapped up its 6th week in a Brooklyn courtroom. His wife, Emma Coronel, present nearly every day. The 29-year-old American-born former beauty queen told Telemundo about standing by her man.
I
think it's what any wife would do, she said, being by their husband's side in rough times like the ones he's going through right now. Last week, jurors heard from El Chapo himself in interviews taken while he was a fugitive, explaining he first entered the drug trade at age 15 while growing up in a poor farm town. The way to have the means to buy food to survive is to sow poppy, marijuana, he said. But if El Chapo showed his mushy side, prosecutors showed the macabre, displaying images of seized AK-47s and rocket launchers, and highlighting testimony of grisly murders and rampant corruption.
It's not uncommon to have firearms involved in a criminal trial like this. What is uncommon is to have rocket-propelled grenades and AK-47s brought into the courtroom and shown to the jury.
Authorities say the drug lord terrorized Mexico as leader of the Sinaloa cartel, but he's better known for his audacious prison escapes, most recently tunneling out of a Mexican jail in 2015. A mystique of invincibility now shattered. El Chapo stands to spend the rest of his life in prison. Matt Bradley, NBC News, New York.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.